Hi guys, it's Jim here from Dr. Tankenstein with a bit of a different style of video today. I guess the video I'm sharing with you today is more like an interview. See, recently I got together with Craig at Salty and Chef on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow him, and I suggest you do. Craig invited me to his fledgling hop farm in Clowne in Derbyshire. Craig has about an acre of land where he has two very established lines of hops, two varieties, Phoenix and Centennial, and he's currently trialing grow operations to make more lines available. And the real interesting thing about Craig is that he's growing American hops here in the UK, which makes for some very interesting results and some really, really great tasting beer, which we get into on the video. So if you're interested in hops and growing hops and even just how a hop operation looks, you'll definitely enjoy this video. Craig's a great guy. I had a lot of fun talking to him, a lot of very useful information. So enjoy Craig. Hey Craig, how you doing?
All right, thanks Jim. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Enjoying the sunshine.
You brought the weather
scenery.
with you?
I brought the weather. Yeah, I might have to leave it here, to be honest. Yeah, so we're here in Derbyshire. Why don't you tell us about where we are, what you're doing? I mean, we're growing American hops in Derbyshire.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. And that's the end of the video, guys. Yeah, so why grow hops here?
I've lived here most of my life. Went away, came back. This is not my day job. My day job, I run an IT company. My wife moved here some 30 years ago. We got together. Right. This land was originally her parents'. We acquired it from them a few years ago, and decided we needed to do something with it.
Do something with the land.
Something with the land. Renishaw is not too far away. There's a vineyard at Renishaw. It's a south-facing slope down to water. It's limestone bed, so it's well drained. Everything sort of geared itself well for.
Everything looks like wine.
Everything looks like wine, but there's an awful lot of work in wine, and the day job doesn't allow me time to do that.
I have seen the vineyards in France, and they look very well kept.
Yeah,
let me just say, they look like
even the vineyards in the UK, it's an awful lot of sort of work.
Yeah.
Hops are still an awful lot of work, but I can leave them during the day job.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do like my beer. And many years ago with my dad, we did some of the old-fashioned home brewing, in the plastic barrels,
bucket,
all that kind of stuff. Went away to college, and 30 odd years ago now, we used to sort of go to find the Theakston's pub and the old spit and stardust places where the real ales and stuff, and so beers.
And I guess actually, like here in Derbyshire, so I live in Sheffield, which is, well, I probably live 15-20 minutes away from here, even though it seems like a world away. Like you say, the spit and sawdust type places, that's kind of cool around here, isn't it? It's sort of like, I mean, obviously I don't know about where you used to go, but it seems like you can throw a stick in Sheffield or around here and hit a pint of cask ale, which isn't necessarily the case elsewhere in the country. No,
and again, just round in and around Sheffield, it's a fairly broad area, but in and around Sheffield, there are 50 plus breweries.
Yes. Yeah.
So
beer's kind of in the DNA.
It is, isn't it? And me think big, always think big.
Always think big.
I can sell hops to those breweries potentially.
Maybe.
So we're in Clowne. So within Clowne, Heist set up a few years ago. Yep. Unfortunately, they had to move away, but they're opening up in Kelham.
Yeah, I heard.
We've got Fuggle Bunny in Killarmarsh, which is 5-10 minutes away. There's Welbeck Abbey, which is 3 or 4 miles away. So there's an awful lot of places around here. And Claire Monk, was at Abbeydale, I believe, she's head brewer at Welbeck, we've sort of had conversations, and she likes to do a green hopped beer every year.
So basically, you didn't want to have to look these people in the eye and tell them you were making wine.
Yeah, pretty much.
You wanted to come to them with a product that they would respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen here the hops. They look amazing. I just said them. They really cut a scene as you walk around the corner. I mean, Derbyshire, Sheffield, they're not the flattest places in the world anyway. But still, I mean, you see these giant hop poles that you've got, and it really looks cool as well. So I imagine that actually looking after them and seeing them grow up the poles is pretty rewarding as well.
It is. There's something new every day. I mean, like you say, what's not to love? You sort of come out here. Even in the worst of weathers, it's still a great place to be outside, and just tending to. I mean, I know it looks a little bit unkempt, but that's part and parcel of.
Yeah, I mean, it's your house. You can keep it however you want.
But they compete. So compete.
Yes.
They sort of theory is it strengthens them up. So
you don't just drink beer; you also make beer.
Yes.
You're the only person I know who managed to get decent beer out of a brewery system. Like everybody else who bought a brewery. To be honest, the brewery seemed like an amazing idea, but you're probably the only person I've seen who actually reported good beer from it.
There's a community of us.
A community, right? So 4 or 5.
Yeah,
around the
pretty
globe.
much.
Yeah.
Around the globe. Yeah,
around the globe.
Globally, there's about 4 or 5 of us. But there are forums on Facebook, and the system wasn't without its problems.
Yeah.
I did quite a lot of research before buying it, and it seemed for me, for what I personally wanted, it was the best thing to do.
Well, it seems like for what anyone wanted, it would be the best thing to do. It seems amazing, and now that you've got one, I think that you're laughing, to be honest.
It didn't work for 2 years.
Okay, so you've got the time sunk into the repair.
So I bought it, had various problems, it went back, it came back to me. They're based in Hungary. The company was based in Hungary, so it went back to Hungary before coming back to me.
Well, you must have been very thirsty by the time it came back. Never mind Hungary. Right, so you've brewed us an XPA here,
yes.
Extra Pale Ale. It looks amazing, and these are hopped with your very own hops from this farm. So should we crack these things open and carry on the conversation?
Yeah.
After that? Yeah. Okay, so we're all poured in. Like I say, it does look amazing, and that head, that's not going anywhere, is it? So, what you tell us a little bit about the beer first that we're about to drink? What's gone into it? What style is it?
So this is my version of an XPA. I think for me, it's probably a little darker than I'd wanted it to be, but I think that's probably the malt I've used. So I've used Extra Pale, and I've used Vienna malt.
Extra Pale and Vienna. Okay, yeah. So I'm wondering about that. Right, so brace yourself, guys. I've stopped adjusting my water because I wanted to see whether the water around here just makes a slightly darker beer than you want.
Well, this is it. There's nothing. This is just basically
just tap water.
Just straight out the tap.
Yeah, I think that because like I say, I'm really not too far from you here. I think the water around here just does darken your beer ever so slightly. So I think that's probably, or that could be playing a part there in that. So you've got Extra Pale, Vienna, the hops.
My hops.
Your hops.
So I've bittered with Phoenix.
Yeah.
At the end of the boil, there's some Centennial. So I think I've done half an hour with Phoenix, and I've done 15 minutes with Centennial, and then in the fermenter I've dry hopped with Centennial as well.
This is a real quick brew then. A 30-minute boil.
60 minutes.
Oh right, so you put the
60 minute boil, and then hopped in at 60.
Right, my mistake. Right. Okay. So let's. Should we give this a go?
Give it a go. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been in the bottle since March.
Okay. Oh, that's very good.
That's
I mean, Forgot I was sitting with the brewer there. I didn't mean to stroke your ego too much.
I'm going to take that. It's matured well in the bottle.
It's very rounded.
Thank you very much.
Is what I'll say. Very balanced. We're not here to critique beers. We're here to enjoy the.
It's got a nice. In terms of bitter, it's got a nice bitterness, and it's got quite a bittery smell.
A bittery smell. Yeah. So the smell is kind of like it's that kind of spiciness. I mean, obviously the Centennial is kind of sharpening it a little bit, but it's almost like I mean, I guess what was it? Phoenix you said you used in the bittering. Yeah, I think that is a classic. It's got like a classic British taste to it, even though you've put the Centennial in it. So I wanted to ask you about this. Obviously, we did speak before we just rolled the cameras there. Why Phoenix? Like, tell us a little bit about Phoenix, because I mean, I'm here at the farm. I can see so many Phoenix hops. What is Phoenix something that you really love? Or?
So when we decided on what we were going to do with the hops, I'd got just over an acre of land, and I wanted to do. I've said this before, but just the fact that you can get so much variety out of 4 ingredients, and yes. Hops again are a big player in the aroma and the taste and the bitterness, and even with just one hop, you can see a difference in how you use it. But I wanted to sort of get some of the hops that were interesting to me. So I've looked at hop profiles before growing this, and I have a book. And all my ideas go down in this book for all sorts of things. And there are pages and pages on.
I've got the police out looking for that book right now.
Hop profiles and just scribbles and brain dumps. So I went through a list of all the different ones and looked at the hop profiles where I could get them, if I could buy them in the UK. And
okay, so you almost backtracked from what you wanted to what you were gonna plant.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Because Phoenix almost seems like a guilty pleasure to a lot of British, like we said earlier, like ale drinkers seem to love Phoenix, but nobody's talking about it.
Well, it's also how you can use them in a different variety of beers as well.
Yeah.
So all the hops I looked at I looked at one specifically for bittering and did that work, and then looked at dual purpose, and I looked at aroma hops and how they potentially all mesh together in a variety of beers.
So you wanted to grow the perfect palette of hops to make your ideal beer, and Phoenix was a part of that. If I wanted to grow hops at home, what kind? I'd be growing in pots, obviously.
Yeah.
What kind of yield am I expecting from that?
And again, that varies on variety and where you are, but generally it's anything between £1 and £2 per plant, and that's wet weight.
So you're looking, so that might even just be £1. If you get £2, that might be £1 of dry.
Well, generally, the water content of them as they come off is about 80%. In terms of brewing, you want it down to about 10%.
Right.
So if you're looking at a pound of hops, you're probably looking at a couple of ounces, 3 ounces dried.
Wow, that's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water.
But I guess it is, a plant, so it's got to have water in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where I'm gonna take over the video here and just basically ask you all the questions I've been wondering over the years of growing hops. You've got a lot of varieties here. I mean, I even see over there you've got some kind of almost like a pilot grow going where, I mean, Craig's trying to basically transplant Yakima Valley into Derbyshire here. So you're very ambitious, but you've got the space. So if I were to have, say, 2 hop plants at home, is there a variety that you would say to me, Jim, this is the ones you should grow because they're either the easiest or the highest yielding, or I don't know, they smell the best when you walk out the back door, kind of thing?
It all depends if you're going to use them to brew what you ultimately want to drink.
So you're bringing it back to the art.
You're
bringing it back to you should select your own hops, Jim. Do your research.
I do think that as well. I mean, it's what you like. I mean,
all right, and let's flip what I just asked you on its head. So you think that you should grow the hops that you like?
Yes.
And if the hop that you like only grows half as much as the hops that you don't like, tough. You've at least got half as much of the hop that you like. Flip it on its head then. What should I avoid doing if I'm growing hops? Like, what are the difficulties I might imagine?
Well, this year's not as good as previous years. This year's been a tough year.
So I guess
it's been really hot. It's been really dry.
Right. So you haven't been getting, or they haven't been getting as much water as they may have previously.
No, I haven't got an irrigation system. Work has kept me away from them, so I've not watered them as often as I should. So they are prone. They are prone to disease.
Mm-hmm. So
downy mildew and sort of mites and stuff. We don't tend to treat that. I don't want to use any chemicals. I don't want to.
You heard that here, guys. Organic hops.
I can't claim them to be organic.
Oh, sorry, not organic, but pesticide free.
Pesticide free.
Yeah.
We don't use any chemicals. My wife grows her lavender here for her business. She makes beauty products, face creams, hand creams. She uses the lavender to make soaps, so she's got soaps.
Okay.
And then down the hill we've got some apple trees. So generally where you find hops, you find apple trees. They sort of go hand in hand.
This is kind of like a playground, an adult's playground.
It is an adult playground. This is like I said, this is for me to get away from the day job.
Yeah.
And a retirement plan. But it's stuff that I really enjoy doing and I find really interesting. So the fact that the hops is part of beer and it's just a big chemistry lesson.
Yeah.
This in itself is just an expansion of that chemistry lesson. Understanding about alpha and beta acid content and the aroma, the aroma compounds within hops and how they differ and what flavours they give.
And the terroir as well. I guess we already mentioned that you're a long way away from where hops are normally grown.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a cool lesson. So let me just reiterate what you just said. So I guess if I was growing hops at home, or if someone out there wanted to grow hops, I would probably say to them, after what you just said, be prepared for sporadic yields. So some years just aren't going to be as good as others.
Absolutely.
They need a lot of water, but well-drained soil.
Yes.
So they're fussy, basically.
They are fussy.
They're fussy, but delicious. And they're susceptible to diseases, so kind of just keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out for that. And again, if you've got more than one plant, then you've got it's downy mildew particularly spreads. So you've got to be careful with how you move the plants or move between the plants. So don't use the same tools on different plants.
Right,
if you've got one,
so you need
and pretty much if you've got a plant that's got downy, you should get it out.
Right. Okay. So and as well, I mean, I noticed earlier. So the Phoenix you can see just behind us here. The Centennial are all the way over there. I asked you about proximity. Obviously, we've already discussed you've got this acre of land that you keep talking about. If I'm just in my back garden, how close can I have? Can I keep them close together?
If they're in pots, then fine. Have a variety in each pot. If you've got multiple, then these are around about 18 inch to 2 feet apart. The same variety. If they're any more than that, they need to be about 10 feet apart. If different varieties tend to be about 10 feet apart.
Right. Okay. I mean,
in
10 foot's not an unaskable thing in a garden, though, is it?
It's not a massive amount of space, but because they come from a root ball and the root spreads, it's a rhizome. The root spreads.
So you should keep them
them as far apart as possible.
Okay. Well, that's really valuable. Hopefully one day.
And again, this is just me being an enthusiastic amateur.
But that's it. I mean, amateurs, I find, are often the best people to ask these things of. because professionals have either forgotten all this info or they just don't care anymore. So I think that amateurs like you, I mean, this is a pretty big amateur operation, if I'm honest. But, so amateurs like you, I think, are the people who hold the key to people being to more amateurs, I guess. You know, so hopefully people out there will now know how to grow their hops. Hopefully one day I'll be able to bring you a beer hopped with my pot hops.
Excellent.
From the back.
I look forward to that.
And I'll be honest, just as a side note, this Phoenix beer is really nice. So Phoenix, I guess I don't know why I would typically associate it with a darker beer, you know, so almost like a bitter in quality that the aroma sort of just fades away in.
Yeah.
But this is really good, I think.
I'm really pleased with it. Say it's my first. I've used the pads before, so I've used the kits.
In the brewery, that is.
In the brewery. And this is the one that I wanted to do that was entirely of my own making and design. And yeah, I'm really pleased with my first attempt.
Oh, good way. Craig, please tell people where they can find you, and before you do that, tell people how open you are to accepting questions on Twitter about hops, because I think that might be the main thing that people get in touch with you for.
If they want to ask questions, that by all means ask me. I might point you off to somewhere that is more knowledgeable than I, but I'm always happy to interact with and field questions. I'm Salty in Chef on Instagram and on Twitter. My wife, for her stuff, is at Serious Therapies, and she has Instagram, Twitter, and she's on Facebook. Yep. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Pleasure for you.
I've enjoyed it. Hopefully, maybe next time I come back, we'll have some of that cider that you were talking about earlier.
Well, again, the trees only went in this year, so it might be a few years before the trees come through. But we'll see. But We've got some Bramleys up in the wood, and I've got some Bramley cider.
Good stuff. Right. Cheers, Craig.
Cheers,
Thanks
Jim.
a lot.